All set to go here from the Valley of the Sun. It's Arizona State and St. John's coming up in Game 2 of this three-game set on ESPN+. The Sun Devils going for a series win. St. John's hoping to force a rubber match and move this series along to Sunday. With Eric Matsumoto, I'm Aiden Blanc. Amanda Roche in just a little bit. It's good to be with you, Eric. ASU kept it a little closer than they would have liked last night, but did pull away with a 5-run inning late in the game. They got the win, and I think that's what mattered to Willie Bloomquist, but there are definitely things they can work on coming up in Game 2 here.
Yeah, the big thing was that they just were not getting hits with runners on base early on in the game. When you look to their big inning in the 7th, it was all about plate discipline. They didn't try and do too much in any particular at-bat, and that's what Willie Bloomquist talked about after the game as well. Pitch selection, not trying too hard early on, letting themselves get into maybe one-strike counts so that they can get pitches that they want, and then obviously Contreras with the absolute monster grand slam that really put the game away.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because timely hitting was actually a problem. At one point, they were 1 for 9 with runners on base. St. John's wasn't much better, finished 0 for 6 when they put runners in scoring position. Both of these teams are going to want to hit the ball a little bit better when getting runners on base. They had their opportunities, but were not able to use them. On the other end, the Red Storm just need a win. It's pretty simple. They have struggled. They played very tough competition early. They have gotten hit around on the mound, and I think you're looking at needing a much better start today from Evan Chafee, who was not good his first time out. The pitching is clearly their biggest issue right now.
Yeah, they've had major struggles with that, and with an ASU lineup that at any moment can drop so many runs on you, you never know what it's going to be. You have to be sure you're getting out in front early.
The Sun Devils looking to continue this perfect start. St. John's just hoping for a chance at a rubber match tomorrow. Let's take a break. We're back in just a moment with starting lineups and first pitch. ASU and St. John's on the way here on ESPN+. All set for some day baseball here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium. Arizona State looking for a perfect start to this 2026 season, and they'll give the ball for the second consecutive Saturday here, Eric, to Colin Linder, a JUCO transfer who sat out last season, kind of got a chance to look at this pitching staff and has now moved into a very high-profile weekend role.
Yeah, last weekend against Omaha went 4 innings, only gave up 1 run, but had a little bit of control problems. 3 walks, hit a batter. Definitely want to make sure that he is pounding the strike zone today. That was something we saw yesterday as well with Cole Carlone, all about getting in front of these St. John's hitters.
That St. John's lineup, not terribly different. We'll see Luis Rodriguez again in the leadoff spot. against this ASU pitching staff. Cole Carlone was good enough last night. The numbers were certainly there. He may have missed a few more pitches than he would have liked, but he hit enough spots that he was able to get through, 6 innings with one run allowed, and I'm sure that Willie Bloomquist would take that from his starter today. Colin Linder back on the bump to face Luis Rodriguez, John LaGrande, and Jader Ravestanger. It wasn't the top of the St. John's lineup that was the problem yesterday. It was that bottom third that just didn't produce enough for the top. So we get set for baseball here on this Saturday afternoon. Luis Rodriguez first to the plate. St. John's coming in at 1-4. Of course, nobody has played a conference game this season. The Marist transfer leads off for the Johnnies. And the first pitch in for a strike.
Be interesting to see how St. John's responds. Rodriguez, the only runner to score with the home run he had last game. Definitely the top of this order needs to bounce back quickly, particularly you look at the man on deck, John LaGrande as well. Did not have a great night himself. 2 strikeouts, very uncharacteristic of him.
Our umpiring crew, Steve Mattingly's at first. Lee Myers is out at second. Big swing and a miss for 1 and 2. William Van Raphorst is at third, and then Angel Campos is behind the plate. He has some history with Willie Bloomquist. The last time he had the plate for an ASU game, a midweek last year against Arizona, he threw Willie out of the game. 2 balls and 2 strikes on the leadoff man, Luis Rodriguez.
Yeah, certainly both sides remember it, I'm sure. We'll have to see what happens if a couple calls don't go the way the Arizona State Sun Devils want. Keep an eye on Bloomquist in the dugout.
And of course, he had that Game 3 of the College World Series. Threw out Coastal Carolina's manager early on. This one flown to the left side. It looked like Rolig might have a play. The breezes kind of carried that ball.
Yeah, wind blowing in today, very much helping the pitchers out, and anything on a pop-up, there's enough swirls that it's going to be interesting on the infield.
So Rodriguez into a 2-2 count. Okay numbers with Marist. The last 2 years hit .289 in 104 games. One of the most experienced, at least D1 transfers. There's a lot of transfers on this team, but not a ton have come up from that high level of a D1 program. Pretty good program out of the MAC. Stayed local, took the step to the Big East. 2-2. He bends the outside corner. No, he missed it just a touch. That was Steve Mattingly over at first, who ruled in favor of Rodriguez that this count is going to go full now.
And if you're St. John's, this is exactly what you wanted. You wanted a long, grinding at-bat to start off this game.
The 2-2, or the 3-2 rather, is inside for ball 4. Rodriguez fights a couple pitches off, hangs in there, gets a call to go his way, and draws a leadoff walk for a St. John's team that did not hit well with runners on base or in scoring position. Anytime they got runners on yesterday, they just didn't bring them through. Let's see if that changes on this Saturday as the lineup goes to Legrand. First teamer last year, all conference in the Big East. Was 0 for 3 last night, a very uncharacteristic night. 2 strikeouts on his day, but he did walk, and when he got on, that one time he did steal a base. That was his 5th of the season, so a threat speed-wise. He's had very high strikeout numbers early. Had a strikeout in 3 of those first 4 games last weekend that they played. Last night, his first multi-strikeout game of the year, so comes in just trying to put the ball in play at least.
And that was a problem that St. John's had yesterday, as it looks like we got a pitch clock violation on Legrand.
Yeah, he wasn't ready to go. And Angel Campos steps in to make the count A ball and 2 strikes.
But they really just could not put the ball in play. That was part of why they struggled so much with runners on base, is that they were just striking out in those situations. And all the credit to Cole Carlone, particularly when he got into some of those jams, he was able to buckle down and make the pitches he had to make.
Legrand is by far the biggest name on this team. He was a Cape League MVP last season, or this past summer. Hit 288 out there, which in college is not always the strongest average, but with a wood bat in that situation against that level of competition, that is a very impressive number. But he just hasn't quite figured it out. And we're still early, only the second weekend of play. But he just hasn't quite figured it out coming back to college here. This count runs full, so both the first 2 batters of this game have run the count full on Colin Linder.
Just hasn't quite been able to hit his spots, because some of these misses, they're big misses. These aren't pitches that you want to be throwing when you have 2 strike counts in your favor.
Rodriguez is on first with a leadoff walk. This ball sprayed down the line. It's the third baseman Rolling who makes the play. They try to double him up. It was a good effort, but a little offline. Either way, Legrand flies out, and that's the first out of the first inning.
Yeah, Rodriguez was running on that play, so that's part of why it was such a close play back at first, but it looks like St. John's trying to get a little movement, trying to put the ball in play a little bit more, just get something going after their struggles yesterday.
Legrand was the only one who stole a base yesterday. The only stolen base of the game for St. John's. ASU only had 1, but they attempted 3. Strike dropped in here on Jader Rafestanger. A lot of Northeast products on this team. He's no different, Massachusetts kid. Back in the 3rd spot of this lineup. Rolls one, past the first baseman, Smaldino. Contradas throws him out from the outfield grass. That's a great backup play from New Contradas. Smaldino tried to stab it on a pretty awkward angle. It wasn't a very hard hit ball, but just came at it a little weird.
Yeah, good
Moves
work.
Rodriguez up to second, but Rafestanger put out 4-3.
Good work on both ends there. Smaldino wasn't quite able to pick it, but then had the awareness, knew he had his second baseman behind him, got back to the bag in plenty of time. And that's a big out, especially with how many pitches have been thrown by Linder already.
Rafestanger is out. Here's Sean McMillan. Another all-conference honoree. Flies it right side. Smaldino's got a better look at it this time and makes the play. So a leadoff walk, but Linder works himself a little bit more comfortable and gets out of it. No score after half an inning. Sun Devils' first plate appearance when we come back. ASU and St. John's here on ESPN+. Bottom of the first, Arizona State and St. John's. Colin Linder walks the leadoff batter for the Johnnies, but gets the next 3. And now we'll get to see his opponent on the mound today, Evan Chafee, the lefty out of Hamburg, New York. Gets another start after a rocky start to his season.
Yeah, it didn't go great against Minnesota. 4 2/3, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks. Threw a wild pitch in there as well. 91 pitches overall, and what was just not a great day for St. John's as a whole. Ended up 8-0.
He was a preseason All-Big Easter last year. In 14 starts, a 7.92 ERA for the Johnnies, so he can eat up innings. 50 strikeouts to lead the team last season. And he's back on the mound today to face a Arizona State lineup that didn't quite have an answer early in the game last night, but as we talked about in the open, got that 5-run inning late and did put things out of reach. They slowly figured it out with the timely hitting. It's Hairston, Rolig, and Toigo to start this game. Austin up from the bottom of that lineup last night. Hairston has led off every game this season, though, and he's been as consistent as you could ever hope a leadoff hitter would be.
Yeah, you talk about a guy doing his job yesterday. Hairston on all 4 times he came up, 2 hits, 2 walks, mixed it around left side, right side. Not here, but he's been doing a good job from that leadoff spot, sophomore.
He sprays it over to the right side, and Aiden Fry puts him out. Couple pitches in, they do something not a lot of teams have done, and that's get out Landon Hairston. So here's Austin Rolig. He moves up after an okay night yesterday. Austin was hitting in the 8 spot just in front of Brody Briggs. Got a hit in 3 at-bats with a walk in there as well, and gets a shot up here in the 2nd spot. That ball is low. The big changes to this lineup are in the bottom 3rd. Matt Polk, Cohen Nikolai, and Beckett Zavorik hitting 7, 8, 9. All of those are new entries for Willie Bloomquist and his lineup. And you might look at that and say, well, whoever was hitting there last night might have performed poorly. No, it's just this team is deep, and you got to get them in, as Willie had pointed out in the press conference. They got to get in. Over to the shortstop, Manzer. 2 quick outs on the mound for Evan Chafee. This is a smooth start for him. I'm sure much to the liking of his St. John's teammates and coaching staff.
Yeah, and he's getting quick outs. He's pitching to contact. Walks have been such a big issue for the Red Storm here early on. And so being able to not only get outs quickly and get routine ground balls, make it easy on your defense. Don't put stress on them by walking a ton of guys, throwing strikes. That's what you want, especially after the start of the year that St. John's has had.
Dean Toigo was all over the stat sheet last night. A hit, 2 runs, and 3 RBI. Had a walk in there as well. And he drops down quickly in the count 0-2. Chafee did not have a 1-2-3 inning his first time out. Can do that right here. It's the 2nd of 3 games. Arizona State 9-1 winners last night. And the chance to win the series today. Another one to the right side of the infield. And that's how the inning ends. A very strong start on the mound for Evan Chafee. He puts ASU down 1-2-3 their first time up. We go to the 2nd. Scoreless ball game. Both pitchers off to strong starts. ASU and St. John's here on ESPN+. Ready to go to the second here as we get set for Big 12 baseball on ESPN Plus. Let's check in with the third member of our broadcast crew, Amanda Roach.
Welcome back to Phoenix Municipal Stadium. What a home opener that the Sun Devils had yesterday, 9-1 against St. John's. Well, we're seeing today a little bit of a changeover. The bottom half of the starting lineup for St. John's is completely different. Coach Mike Hampton saying the incredible depth he has on the roster. We're going to see the likes of Aiden, Frey, and Sean Britt. We are in for a treat today.
Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, that is a new set in the bottom third of this lineup that we're going to see at some point in these next 2 innings. You start with Dylan Fitzsimmons. He's not new. A freshman who has arguably been the best part of this offense the first week and a half of the season.
Yeah, he's certainly been making his name known. Had a solid night yesterday, able to reach twice on walks, and had a very deep fly ball to right field that Dean Toigo made a great over-the-shoulder catch on.
For 3 last night, but you mentioned he put a ball nearly out in right field. On a day like today, maybe that ball is out. Temperature's a little bit warmer.
It'll be interesting to see how the ball plays tonight. We do have the little warmer temperatures, but at the same time, wind is blowing in from center field, so might not get as much help there. Maybe down the right field line you have a bit better of a shot, but will be an interesting one, and like I talked about earlier, those pop-ups, definitely something to look out for.
The freshman is ready and fouls it away. Fitzsimmons, Aiden Fry, Rob Manzer, the 3 due up this inning. Another inning for Colin Linder. Talked about redshirting that last season due to an arm injury. Got a chance to sit and watch a great ASU staff after some time at Texas A&M and then later Northwest Florida State. One of the great JUCO programs in the country. And he finally gets one on the full count. Linder gets his first K of the day. Fitzsimmons down swinging to start the second. That was a big, big pitch for him. He's run into multiple full counts already. That pitch count is starting to get elevated.
Yeah, already at 22 pitches here with only 1 out in the second inning. Definitely something to look out for, and all the more reason it was so good that Cole Carlone was able to go deep into the game yesterday, give him 6 innings, and be able to have the bullpen be much more rested as you enter into today and tomorrow.
Here's the Delaware transfer, Aiden Fry. Second baseman for the Johnnies this afternoon. Sprays one back. Didn't see a ton of action last year. 5 starts, 22 appearances, but had a great summer, specifically on the bases. Stole 7 of them in the Cal Ripken League after only 1 in his previous 2 years of college baseball. So he developed a lot of speed over the summer. Trying to reach base here. He was 1 for 3 last night and then got subbed out late in the game for a pinch hitter. Ball and 2 strikes on the second baseman, Fry. Linder trying to lock down that Saturday spot. We were told preseason by Willie Bloomquist this rotation is basically going to stay the same on the weekends up into Arlington. That ball pulled out to left. Landon Hairston is out there. And after that leadoff walk, Colin Linder has set down 5 in a row.
Yeah, he's getting better, and more importantly, those last 2 outs of the first inning were quick. He was really getting into some long, grinding at-bats, so it's good to see that he's getting a little bit quicker, getting a little more balls into the zone, and fewer of those really easy takes early on.
Of those 5 outs, 3 have been flyouts, 1 ground out, and then the strikeout of Fitzsimmons to start this inning. Here's Rob Manzer. JUCO transfer starting at shortstop today. was 0 for 3 last night. Played at both Cuesta College and Colorado State Pueblo before coming over to St. John's. Colorado, a place that Mike Hampton, St. John's head coach, knows pretty well. He played out there briefly before continuing his college career at Clemson. He told me he played briefly in a summer collegiate league that took him into this area, not at Muni, but over at the old Packard Stadium. One of the old Arizona wood bat leagues. There's not a ton out here. It's the summer in Arizona. It's not the easiest place to play summer ball, but told me about playing at Packard Stadium and now takes his team here to Muni. 2-2. Linder gets out of the inning. He set down 6 straight after that leadoff walk back in the first, and Colin Linder, a confident strut off the mound. Scoreless as we go bottom 2. Good pitching early on this Saturday here at Phoenix Muni.
Everyone needs a checking account, so get the one with built-in benefits for your unique lifestyle. Mountain America's My Style Checking has perks no one can pass up.
Enjoy sizzling restaurant deals.
Peace of mind mobile phone protection.
Timely telehealth services.
Confidence boosting identity protection.
And clutch loan rate discounts.
Make my style your lifestyle.
At Mountain America Credit Union.
Ready for the bottom of the second inning here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium. Arizona State and St. John's both starting pitchers off to strong starts. The Sun Devils and Colin Linder have set down 6 in a row, while St. John's and Evan Chafee put ASU down in order their first time through. But the middle of this order, Eric Matsumoto, is maybe the most dangerous spot. 4, 5, and 6 here starting with the ever-dangerous new Contreras, fresh off his 2nd Grand Slam of the year last night.
Yeah, anyone in this ASU order can put the ball over the fence, but the big thing is that's not the only thing they can do. They're not a one-dimensional lineup. That was a big thing coming into this year, was finding ways to continue to get on base, continue to put the ball in play, and get hits while also still maintaining that power.
Groundouts in ASU's first at bat of the game, but now they turn it over to arguably the hottest hitter in this lineup. The senior who has battled injuries over 3 seasons. He has yet to play a full season of Sun Devil baseball. Almost got there last year. A late season injury took him out for most of those last 2 or 3 series of the year, the Big 12 tournament and the NCAA tournament. He didn't get drafted, and so he comes back with a big chip on his shoulder. Flown out to center field. It's LeGrande, but he gives way to the freshman Fitzsimmons out in right. And it took a while, but they do put Contreras down to start the second.
And that's what Willie Bloomquist wanted. He didn't want his hitters to be too aggressive early on. A very quick first inning from Chafee, and so being able to get a few more pitches out of him, let your hitters see the ball a little bit more as you get deeper into this lineup, and obviously the bottom third completely new.
Tom Smaldino, a little number back up the middle. Fry stabs it and puts it over to first in time. Fry has seen a lot of action. He's already had 3 balls hit to his position at second base. And he's put them all down. Good defense here behind Chafee. Every ASU hitter has put the ball in play, and yet they've started this game 0 for 5. But here's Dom Longo, the Utah Valley transfer, to try and change that. He puts a good charge in it, out to center, and it drops down on LeGrand. He didn't have a great jump on it. Tried, I think, to come at it and maybe make a diving catch, but it drops in on him.
Yeah, in that situation, it's just such a sinking line drive, a do-or-die play, really, and with 2 outs and nobody on, you don't want that ball getting by you. You don't want to make it more than it needs to be. Let it drop in, play it on a hop, take the single.
Our official scorer, the do-it-all SID, Jeremy Hawk, says single, and so that's what we'll go with. I would agree with that. Ball just hung up a little long. That's the only reason LeGrand had a chance at it. This ball sprayed down the line, and Matt Polk gets his first hit of the weekend. Off to the races we go. Longo the wave at third. Throw comes in, and it won't even reach the plate. All the way to third goes Matt Polk. An RBI triple gets the juices flowing on a Saturday afternoon. It's 1-0 Arizona State.
And last night, they weren't getting the hits with runners on base early on, so the first runner that gets on base tonight, they make sure to capitalize. A great job by Polk going the other way, sending it down the right field line, and then it was just run and run and run. And in the end, it's a stand-up triple and a stand-up score.
The Vanderbilt transfer, Matt Polk, in his final collegiate season, native of Long Beach, came back to play a little closer to home and gets a big knock early in this game. The first 5 ASU players were all retired, but Longo singles, Polk triples, and just like that, as you said, this lineup comes alive in the blink of an eye, and now it's Cohen Nikolai getting his first start of the weekend behind the plate, quickly into an 0-2 hole.
Yeah, and it's the new part of the order. Matt Polk, not in the game yesterday, comes in, makes an impact right away. That's the depth that Willie Bloomquist was talking about.
Polk is out there at the DH spot, which is always good to have when you're as deep in the lineup as this. Last night it was Garrett Michelle who had that start and did pretty well, but today Polk gets that turn. Chafee's still a strike away from getting out of this. 1 run should not be the end of the world.
Yeah, and that's what O'Leary was so good at last night, was stopping the bleeding, not letting the momentum build up too much. He was able to not let these hits, even when he was giving up home runs, mount into larger innings.
The 1-2, he got him. Excellent breaking ball to finish off the catcher Nikolai. And Chafee works around those 2 hits, giving up just 1 run in the inning, but ASU striking first for the 2nd straight night. We're back with more Game 2 of this series. Arizona State on top 1-0. Back here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium, 1-0 lead for Arizona State over St. John's. Another inning coming up for Colin Linder. He's a transfer, and for more on some of these other players that have come from other places, here's our sideline reporter, Amanda Roach.
Welcome back. With the changeover in that starting lineup for St. John's, Coach Mike Hampton was saying how a lot of these athletes should have been starters already, but due to changes in the transfer portal, it's been a little backed up. They haven't been able to showcase their skills like they are here today with the likes of Aiden Frey, who started in 5 games in the last season for the Johnnies. We're going to see more of that from St. John's here today.
Amanda, thanks so much. That's basically how Willie Bloomquist built this team. It's a combination of, a handful of guys that maybe returned from last season, but it's a lot of names that came from other schools, and then of course there's those freshmen who are still trying to get their playing time, but most of this roster came from somewhere else. First pitch is ripped in the air, deep out to left field and up onto the mountain. Adam Agresti ties this game on one swing in the third. A leadoff home run to even this game up at 1 apiece.
Well, we saw early on a lot of patience from St. John's, a lot of deep counts, not there. 2 pitches in, Agresti absolutely drills that one out. And St. John's able to come right back and answer, something we didn't see them do a lot of yesterday.
The first hit they have off Colin Linder goes over the left field fence, and now it's into the 9 spot with Sean Britt. He rolls the ball off to second. Contradas is there. And Linder goes through the first 9, not terrible, minus the home run. He retired 7 of those 9 batters. He just has to find that groove again. Another look at the home run from Agresti. Not much doubt. Maybe last night that ball does die with the colder temperatures, or at least Landon Hairston might have had a play on it, but not today. The temperatures are a little bit warmer. The sun is shining. That air's still dry. Ball moving a little bit better.
Yeah, and that was a line drive home run. A lot of the fly balls in the air as we saw yesterday, we talked about how they were very high up in the air, very arching fly balls. That one, it got out of here quick.
Luis Rodriguez was one of those 2 that was not set down the first time through. He led this game off with a walk, got up to second, but was left there in the first. There's that fastball from Linder. A little bit like we talked about Austin Musso last night. His fastball's not going to overpower you, but he picks his spots well, and he's able to squeeze it into tight areas of that zone. 2 strikes here on Rodriguez. Linder trying to set him down for the first time.
Yeah, so often it's not about purely how fast the pitch is. It's not always about the RPMs, the analytics. Sometimes it's just good old-fashioned, can you throw it where you want to throw it?
The 2-strike offering is a check swing for strike 3. So Linder bounces back after the home run with back-to-back outs. That's going to put a smile on Jeremy Accardo's face. That's going to put a smile on Willie Bloomquist's face. And it's certainly going to put a smile on Colin Linder's face. Did not let that home run affect him in the least. But now he's got to face John LeGrand, who is just due for some kind of big at-bat. Summer League MVP in the best summer league there is out on Cape Cod, but has not done it in this series. He's now 0 for 4. His only time on was a walk.
Yeah, just hasn't quite been able to get it. Had a nice line drive last time to end his final at-bat, but really some soft contact early on in his foul balls and obviously in his first plate appearance today.
And that alone should be a positive for him. Remember, he did strike out twice last night. The 1-1. That's a great breaking pitch.
And Linder, not only is he getting these outs after the home run, he is coming in the zone. He's not afraid to keep throwing the ball in there. We saw it from O'Leary last night. He found success from that. We're seeing it from Linder tonight.
Linder gets him again. 3 strikeouts in the last 2 innings for the Northwest Florida State transfer. He gives up that home run to lead the inning off, but works around it, and we're all even as we go to the third, or bottom of the third. Arizona State, St. John's college baseball here on ESPN+. We got a brand new ball game going bottom third. Both of these teams set down fairly easily their first 2 times through, but tying the game up here. 1-1. As the Sun Devils go 9-1-2. Beckett Zavorik, first at bat of the weekend, rolls it off to short, and he's set down 6-3. He nearly had an at bat in the 9th inning last night. He was waiting on deck, would have gotten on.
Up next, left fielder, number 3.
Had Dean Toigo reached in the 9th inning, or in the 8th inning, but he didn't get that opportunity. Gets in the starting lineup today and starts his day 0 for 1. Here's Landon Hairston, fresh off a ground out in his first at bat.
Yeah, on both sides of the ball, or both sides, pitchers are doing well. Really, just one hit on each side. Linder gave up the home run. Chafee gave up the triple, but both did a good job bouncing back, throwing strikes, keeping this only at 1-1 rather than crooked numbers.
Took ASU 5 batters to figure out Evan Chafee. Hairston just fouled down the left field line.
And we saw him use that left field line a little bit yesterday as well. He had a single that he just kind of looped over there. And with the massive overshift that they put on him, they leave that left field line wide open on the infield and in the outfield if he can start slapping the ball that way.
1-2, Landon to the alley. It's a long run. LeGrand dives and makes the catch. Whoa, that was a special kind of play from the center fielder LeGrand. He robs Hairston of his first hit of the day.
And he can cover some ground out there. We saw it a little bit yesterday. He had a couple balls in the gaps that he was able to get to, and that was just a wonderful play. Read it off the jump, and then ends up going into the full dive to make the play.
So Landon set down the first 2 times through. I don't know that that's happened at all this year, getting him out in back-to-back at-bats. Here's Austin Rolig, righty with 2 gone. Well hit ball down the line, tough run. Fitzsimmons tries to backhand it. He misses it, and it bounces over the wall for a ground rule double. Rolig put it in the perfect spot there. Fitzsimmons came at it with such an awkward angle. He was going backhanded into the corner. And not only did he miss the ball, it bounces up and over to put ASU a runner in scoring position.
That's such a tough play for Fitzsimmons as a left-handed outfielder. Ball is slicing away from you. He's looking up as well into this bright day. And in the end, that ball just kept carrying.
Dean Toigo, 167 with runners on base. Try to up that average here and get ASU a 2-out knock. ASU did not hit well in a lot of those crucial situations last night. Runners on base, runners in scoring position, and 2-out hitting as well. That was something that we didn't even get to. They did not hit well with 2 out in the inning. The 1-0 to Toigo. Did it get him? No, he got out of the way just in time. He'll keep hitting. Rolling that 2-out ground rule double. He's out on second, trying to come home on a base hit. Toigo takes his first strike. Game 3 of this series tomorrow afternoon. If the Johnnies can pull off the upset today, it would be a rubber match. Otherwise, ASU will be going for a perfect 7-0 start the first 2 weekends, heading into a big week of 5 consecutive games against SEC opponents. That ball did hit Dean Toigo, and he gets on for the first time to set up the ever-dangerous New Contradas.
Yeah, we saw it a little bit yesterday. Red Storm just trying to get in on Toigo, trying to jam him. He's a big, tall guy, so he wants to get those arms extended, and that time just came in a little too much.
So here is New. 750 average early on the season with runners in scoring position, 667 with runners on base. He's had monster numbers in big situations in games, and he's got more here. Back up the middle, Rolling gets the wave at third. The throw goes to third, and Rolling comes in to give Arizona State the lead. RBI single from New Contradas, a clean piece of hitting from the flying Hawaiian to get ASU the lead right back.
And this is really, really big. It's only 2 runs early on, but that is 2 out runner on base knocks to get runs home. And that was just something we did not see at all yesterday from this ASU lineup.
Contradas goes to first, Dean Toigo to second. They have 4 stolen bases between the two of them. Here's Dom Smaldino. Try and keep this 2-out rally going. Remember, the first 5 batters of this game were set down. Of those 5, Smaldino is the 5th to get a second at bat here, but only one of them has been set down twice. So the second time through, ASU has looked a lot better here against Chafee. Got to get back to first. They threw out New Contradas. That's the second time in as many games that ASU has had a runner thrown out on a pickoff attempt. But the Sun Devils get some timely hitting and the lead right back. It's 2-1 going to the 4th. Arizona State leads here on ESPN+.
Everyone needs a checking account, so get the one with built-in benefits for your unique lifestyle. Mountain America's My Style Checking has perks no one can pass up.
Enjoy sizzling restaurant deals.
Peace of mind mobile phone protection.
Timely telehealth services.
Confidence boosting identity protection.
And clutch loan rate discounts.
Make my style your lifestyle.
At Mountain America Credit Union.
On to the 4th here at Phoenix Muni. Arizona State strikes back after taking the lead. They gave it up They get it right back. Would have had another shot to extend the lead, but New Contradas becomes the second ASU base runner thrown out at first base this weekend. And that's how the inning ends. So it's back to Colin Linder here in the fourth, facing 3, 4, and 5 in the St. John's order.
Yeah, this is a very aggressive ASU team on the base paths. It's something that they pride themselves on, and it seems like they've gotten a little bit too aggressive these last couple days, particularly when those lefties are on the mound. 2 pickoffs back-to-back nights.
Yeah, Willie Bloomquist took the blame for the runner that was thrown out last night, saying we didn't expect them to throw over. We were kind of trying to go on first move. I don't know that was what they were doing there, but that was the strategy at least last night.
Yeah, there was a little bit more trickery, kind of a back pick after playing back, not holding on Contradas being the trail runner, and then it was Agresti just sneaking around and not quite quick enough from Contradas to get back.
Jader Rafestanger leading off here in the fourth. He got put down pretty early in his at-bat back in the first. 0 for 1 with a ground out. Jader, one of those 3 that was all Big East last year. This is his 74th appearance in his 3 years with the Red Storm. Hit .357 last year. Just monster numbers, a .479 OBP. That looked like it clipped him. It did. Angel Campos makes the call, and Rafestanger gets on base for the first time today.
Net zero whether or not it did in the 3-2 count, but put it down as hit by a pitch. Looks like it might have gotten him right on that elbow guard. Leadoff runner for St. John's.
Brings up Sean McMillan. He is 0 for 5 to start this series. 3 strikeouts last night. Flew out to start today. Cole Carlone struck out 9 in his start yesterday. A lot of them coming towards the end, too. He got better as the game went on.
And he got better in the tough situations, too, when there were runners on third, when there were runners in scoring position. That's where he was really locking down, mixing in that changeup, starting to pull out some extra tricks from his back pocket in order to get those big outs.
Alex Overbay had 3 strikeouts in his 2 innings, and Austin Musso out of the bullpen had a strikeout in his 8th inning. So all in total, a 13 strikeout day for the ASU staff to just 5 walks. 2-0 here on the DH McMillan. It's been good numbers so far from Colin Linder. He's only allowed 1 hit in his 3 innings and a batter. The problem was it was a hit that went over the fence in left field. But his offense picked him up. Got that lead right back. He's pitching with the lead for the 2nd straight inning.
Yeah, and his pitch count's gotten a little bit better. I mean, especially after that first, 2nd inning, it was looking like he might be in for a shorter outing, but he's been able to keep going back to the strike zone, get some earlier contact, and not have these long, grinding at-bats.
His 50th pitch of this day is sprayed foul. You're right, he's been very economical. And the damage has been very isolated. He walked that leadoff batter, Rodriguez, in the first. Didn't allow another anything until Agresti homered in the 3rd. And now Rafestanger gets on to start the inning here with a hit by pitch. They call another pitch clock violation. I think
that might have just been a disengagement in order to prevent a pitch clock violation.
Rafestanger is on first. Here's the 2-2. An excuse me swing to keep McMillan at the plate. These next 2 games, vital for the Sun Devils. They're going to need all the momentum they can get. Oklahoma on Tuesday and Wednesday on the road in Norman, and then 3 in Arlington against 3 top 25, potentially 3 top 15 opponents next weekend at the Kubota College Baseball Classic. Flown out to left, Hairston in the sun. Took him a while, but he found the ball in the sky. First out of the fourth.
Yeah, Wynn definitely had that one die even more as you saw Hairston coming in to catch that ball. And another one of those balls that was just hit so high.
Dylan Fitzsimmons down on strikes in his first appearance. Back at it with one gone and a runner on here in the fourth. Good game so far on this Saturday afternoon. They were gonna send Rafe Stanger, then he pulled back and the pitch got away from Nikolai. Maybe the wires got crossed there between Nikolai and Colin Linders, so Rafe Stanger, who was gonna steal and then he wasn't, gets the base anyway.
Yeah, the fake definitely, they ruled that one a pass ball. Definitely assisted because Nikolai was out of his squad. He was having to backhand that ball and ended up just shooting by him.
ASU does not do a lot of pass balls. Even with the catching rotation that they have where, you know, it's a lot like last year. They're not catching Brody Briggs every day. They're not catching Nikolai every day. Cooper Klauser has had some innings here and there. They got multiple catchers, but it really hasn't mattered. They've all been really good defensively. And that, of course, one of the most underrated parts of the game of baseball is that backstop.
It's one of those things where you don't notice it if they're doing everything right, but when something goes wrong, you see it.
Here's the 1-2. Back up the middle, but Zavorik was shifted over there at short. They move Rafe Stanger up, but the 4-3 putout is the second out of the fourth inning. Willie Bloomquist actually mentioned that on opening weekend, talking about his catcher's performances. He said almost exactly that. He said, my goal is just not to notice the catchers. If I don't notice you, you're doing a good job. And for the most part, he has not had to notice his catchers this season. Brody Briggs, the returner, Cohen Nikolai, the Oregon transfer, and then Cooper Klauser, maybe the catcher of the future for Arizona State. Excellent block by Nikolai on the strike there. The freshman Klauser, who got in the game last night at the very end to catch an inning and did get an at-bat.
And even plays like that are so important. Being able to block a pitch in the dirt with a runner at third base, give the pitcher the confidence to spike something there here with 2 outs.
Aiden Fry is 0 for 1. ASU has not had a quote-unquote everyday catcher since Ryan Campos 2 years back. We've come a long way from the days where Campy was starting basically every game he was healthy for his 3 seasons. Now doing great things in the Cardinals organization. Ball and 2 strikes here on Aiden Fry. These are the big moments that St. John's just didn't hit enough of last night. Runner on third and 2 gone. Rafe Stanger has been on since he was hit by a pitch to lead off this inning. You gotta get him home to tie this game, but they won't. Linder gets another punchy, and he closes out the fourth, dancing around that leadoff base runner. Bottom 4 next, 3.5 in the books, and the Sun Devils rolling on this Saturday, a 1-run lead for Arizona State. Back at Muni, Arizona State a 2-1 lead It's been back and forth between the Sun Devils and the Johnnies in Game 2 of this 3-game set with Eric Matsumoto, Aiden Blanc. On just a beautiful weekend for baseball. It was a little chilly last night without the sun, but the next 2 days will be 1 o'clock starts, and that sun bringing it up to a just perfect temperature.
Yeah, it's the great thing about being out here in the desert is February baseball is great, but like you mentioned earlier, summer baseball, not as much fun.
Mike Hampton told me earlier this week when we talked, he was sitting at practice looking out at the field. He told me it was about a foot of snow still out on the field. I had heard rumblings there might be another storm coming this weekend. Still a couple weeks before St. John's plays their home opener. They won't be home till March. They have the week and then Kentucky next weekend, which is just as tough, if not tougher, than ASU to go to. And then 2 at Penn State coming up after that, which who knows if their ballpark's going to be playable down in State College.
Yeah, just all those ballparks on the eastern half of the United States, you never know what it's going to look like in February.
Jam shot from Smaldino, tough run Fitzsimmons, didn't get it the first time, doesn't get it there either, but it drops wide of the line, foul.
Yeah, Fitzsimmons, after the rolling double, he's been chasing a lot of things down that corner.
Especially when you have the Devil deck that hangs out there, especially when we get later in the afternoon, an hour or two from now, and the shadows start to creep out. It is not the easiest part of this ballpark to catch a ball in. 1-2, this will stay in fairground. Legrand Fitzsimmons in, and it is Fitzsimmons who gets a second chance and makes the play for the first out. So an F9 to start off the 4th inning. This is where Chafee ran into problems the first time. He had mowed down the first 5 batters of this lineup. Dominic Longo came up, got the first ASU hit. It was a single, and then Matt Polk tripled, and all of a sudden you're down 1-0. So he's got to be careful with this section of the lineup, specifically these 2 hitters.
And that's the goal that Willie Bloomquist has, is cascading offense. You know, not a one-dimensional team that only hits home runs, but a team that's going to build off of each other.
Off to short, Rob Manzer's there. His second chance of this game. And he's 2 for 2 on putouts. Quick 2 outs here in the 4th. Matt Polk will try to extend the inning.
Designated hitter number 4, Matt Polk.
Awesome numbers early on, though he hasn't had a ton of opportunities, Matt Polk. 3 hits and 8 at-bats this season, 2 RBI. Goes first pitch swinging. He has a home run. Got his first triple earlier in this ball game. Just trying to find himself some regular playing time, which is damn near impossible to do when you're in the Sun Devil outfield. Other than Hairston, those other 2 parts have been totally interchangeable.
Yeah, that's just true for so many people on this Sun Devil roster. Just a lot of players and not a lot of spots. So Willie's been trying to mix it up a little bit, get some players into new spots. Obviously getting Polk in the DH spot today, but he's got to take advantage.
You know, we've seen outfields with ASU in the past where it's, 4 guys basically that can start, maybe 5. This is like a 6 or a 7 guy outfield right now. Another hard hit ball to Manzer, a little deeper in the hole, but he closes down the second 1-2-3 inning of the day for Evan Chafee, who has settled in nicely after ran into some trouble in the 2nd and 3rd innings. 2-1 Arizona State lead. Johnnies will try to tie things up as we go to the 5th here on ESPN+. Another chance for St. John's to tie this thing up. We go to the 5th on a beautiful afternoon. Early season baseball, non-conference battle here at Phoenix Municipal Stadium. A late arriving crowd, but a good crowd nonetheless. I think we had over 3,500 last night, and it's looking like that number is around the same today.
Yeah, just great day to be out on a Saturday watching a game. Not a cloud in the sky. Wonderful weather for baseball.
Early start. We're not quite into the part of the year where you have to start on Saturdays late at night because of the weather, because it gets hot. We're still in the early portions of the season where you can play a Saturday day game. We'll close out the series under some natural lighting. Rob Manzer leads off. It's 7, 8, and 9 for St. John's. And Manzer takes a strike. Adam Agresti will come up next. He had the home run. The only part of St. John's offense today, the only hit to this point off of Colin Linder.
Yeah, but first he's got to get through Manzer here. 3 St. John's leadoff hitters have gotten on in their 4 innings. And Linder's done a good job after that, stopping them from scoring, but you definitely don't want to keep giving them these chances.
Johnnies have 1 walk. They're 1 for 13 as a team, hitting .077. Quick timeout. New baseball for Linder.
That one didn't have any strikes in it.
Linder has 5 Ks, and they've come in the last 3 innings. He didn't have any in the first, so he's really started to hit his groove on the mound. And he's going to get another out here. A comebacker that he stabs and brings right over to Smaldino. Good start here in the 5th. That's 4 straight batters that have gone away from St. John's. And brings up, again, the only part of this offense that has worked today, Adam Agresti, put a ball over the left field fence in his first at-bat of the game.
Yeah, the only hit tonight for St. John's, and not a ton of hard contact either. He's one of the only really hard hit balls for the Red Storm tonight.
Agresti closed opening weekend with St. John's with 2 hits, including his first home run. So he got hot and has carried that over into his 2nd series of the season. He's going to start the day 2 for 2, pulls one right over the left side of the infield, and gets himself a 1-out base knock here in the 5th.
Yeah, very similar to his 3rd inning home run, just a little bit lower this time, a hard line drive. And when you hit it that hard, a lot more holes appear on the field.
Just yanked it right over a leaping Rolig, who's not a short player by any standard, so he had to get that ball up a little bit, and sets the table for Sean Britt. Britt is 0 for 1, and he grounded out 2 innings back. That's the 2nd hit St. John's has had today, and again, they both come off the bat of Agresti. Homer and now a single. Runner takes off. Britt hits it in the air. It might be playable. Rolig Harrison, who's going to get to it? Nobody. It hits the bleachers. They count ball and a strike.
That ball just kept drifting and drifting. Rolig at first looked like he had a beat on it, and in the end, it was well away from his position.
There was a bit of wind earlier. Doesn't look like that's continued. Looks like it's almost died out. But that ball, you're right, did have some carry to it. Trying to find the inside of the zone, but it's 2-1 now. Linder, similar situation to Cole Carlone last night. His next start is going to be against Tennessee in Arlington next weekend. So this is a very important next couple of innings, however long he's left in this ball game, to make sure he's prepared, because the next time he hits the mound, it'll be against a ranked squad of Volunteers. And if you know anything about their new manager, Josh Elander, you know that they can hit. Even at a ballpark that may not be the most hitter-friendly, they can hit.
Yeah, and it's just all about every one of these pitchers. Win this series, but also get ready for next week because it's going to be a doozy.
That'll be, I believe, the nightcap on Saturday night. ASU has the 11 a.m. local time game against Mississippi State on Friday as Brett draws the second St. John's walk of the day, third free pass with that hit by pitch that Linder has allowed, and runners go to first and second. Here's another opportunity for St. John's to hit with runners on base. They have not done it today. They didn't do it yesterday, but if they want to win a game in this series, they're going to have to, and Jeremy Accardo going to go try to reset Linder. There is some movement up in the ASU bullpen.
Not full warming up yet, just a little bit of tossing, but this is the first time St. John's will have 2 runners on base, so definitely risky here. And similar to last night, even if it feels like St. John's offense isn't clicking that much, they're in this game, and it can really just take one big hit for the momentum to totally flip.
Linder went 4 innings his first time out, gave up 3 runs in him, so he's already expanded on his length and decreased the runs allowed, at least for now. He's improved in most ways from his first performance. He's pitching with 2 on and 1 out here in the 5th, and a 1-run Arizona State lead. Luis Rodriguez walked to start this game and then struck out in the 3rd. He's had a knack for big base clearing hits, a double and a triple already, 6 hits on the young season, and he skies one out to left field. Looks like Hairston has a beat. He does, just a few steps shy of the warning track, so the ballpark holds Luis Rodriguez. And a nice second out there for Linder. He's 1 away from getting out of a big jam here.
Yeah, that was a big second out, and a little bit of a scare immediately off the bat, but not quite enough help from the ballpark, not quite a super warm day yet, so able to hold it, hit that same thing come later in March, maybe a different story.
John LeGrand due to get hot at any minute now. He's 0 for 2 in this game, 0 for 5 in the series, but still one of the biggest bats they've got. Can he come through in the clutch here? With St. John's now 0 of 7 with runners on and 0 of 4 with runners in scoring position. They're also 0 of 4 with 2 out. They have not had a hit with a runner on base. They've not had a hit with a runner in scoring position. They have not had a hit with 2 outs in this game.
Not a great formula to win a baseball game.
No, it is almost impossible to win a game when you're hitting like that. But he has a chance to change that here. The 1-1. LeGrand cuts into a ball, 1-2.
Now if you're Linder, you've got pitches to play with. You've got 2 strikes. Do not have to come into him here.
Crowd starts to rise. LeGrand choking up a little bit on that bat. The 1-2. Just a little low. Linder wanted that pitch. He's only pitched with runners on 2 times tonight. Both times it was the leadoff runner who reached him. Both times he got out of it. And he nearly gets out of it here. Just misses on the inner part of the plate. The count goes full.
Crowd wanted it. Linder wanted it. And I think a lot of people down in that ASU dugout wanted it.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on here in the 5th. Linder walks him, and the bases are loaded.
And that's a great plate appearance by LeGrand to be able to take those close pitches. I mean, you talk about not getting the calls, but it's also a credit to a hitter up there to be able, in 2 strikes, have the discipline, take pitches. You see, he was confident in them.
Willie Bloomquist has come out. He is going to take out Colin Linder. And we'll tell you about his replacement, who will come in a very big spot. Bases loaded here in the 5th, a 1-run game on this Saturday afternoon. It's college baseball on ESPN+. Sean Fitzpatrick enters in exactly his situation. Willie Bloomquist told us the first time he came out, this is the kind of spot he likes Fitzpatrick in, a 1 or 2 out situation where he just needs to get him out of a jam, and ASU has worked themselves into a jam. The former Arkansas Razorback has got to try and get him out of bases loaded with 2 out in a 1-run lead here in the 5th inning.
Yeah, sort of the old fireman role coming in. One job, get out of the inning. And Sean Fitzpatrick, the lefty, he's got some funk in his delivery, as you can see as he's warming up here. And his job is just to get a singular out here.
He's from Texas. I think if that was a George Strait reference, you would have hit it right on the nose. The line not quite done on Linder. We do know he went 4 2/3, gave up 2 hits, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. If Fitzpatrick can help him out here and get this last out without allowing a run, it's actually a pretty good start for Colin Linder. But that all depends on what happens here. Jader Rafestanger, who has been on once but is 0 for 1 on the day, is going to try to get St. John's their first hit with runners on today. A journeyman infielder for St. John's, his 74th appearance. Monster numbers last year. He was off on the change at 82.
And throwing strikes right away. If you're going to come in to get outs, you better come in and throw some strikes.
5 hits on the year for Jader. Number 6 would at least tie this game for St. John's. Fitzpatrick's 0-2. He gets out of the jam. The fireman Fitzpatrick works ASU out of a bases loaded spot, and they keep the lead as we go bottom 5. A big opportunity for Sean Fitzpatrick, and Arizona State leads 2-1. The middle innings continue in a moment here at Phoenix Muni.
Everyone needs a checking account, so get the one with built-in benefits for your unique lifestyle. Mountain America's My Style Checking has perks no one can pass up.
Enjoy sizzling restaurant deals.
Peace of mind mobile phone protection.
Timely telehealth services.
Confidence boosting identity protection.
And clutch loan rate discounts.
Make my style your lifestyle.
At Mountain America Credit Union.
Off we go. Bottom of the 5th inning. Arizona State has hung on by a thread with this 2-1 lead. Led 1-0. St. John's tied it an inning later. ASU took that lead right back in the 3rd and has, again, barely hung on to it ever since. Get out of a bases-loaded jam in the top of the 5th. Going to try to extend this lead in the bottom of the 5th. Cohen Nikolai, Beckett Zavorik, Landon Hairston, 8-9-1. Due up for Willie Bloomquist and the Sun Devils. Nikolai had a strikeout in his first at-bat of the weekend. He's been good behind the plate.
He has had the one pass ball, but other than that, he's performed well, and it can be difficult when you're not catching every single day, when, you know, there's pitchers getting different catchers behind them to be able to perform well. But like we mentioned before, ASU's been doing a good job of keeping the catchers in a solid rotation, that everyone's still being comfortable behind the plate.
There is action in the Sun Devil bullpen again, so you wonder if that was it for Fitzpatrick. Be a good third of an inning, but it might have been a third of an inning.
Did his job, and sometimes that's all you need from your relievers, but Cole Carlone gave him 6. They only had to use 2 relievers yesterday, so can be helpful to be able to use Fitzpatrick in just a third of an inning role, keep him fresh.
Evan Chafee is into his 5th inning of work. Another strike. He's battled back from 3-0 to 3-2.
And Chafee, really just a couple of extra base hits that have hurt him. Other than that, he's pitched quite well.
The payoff. Finally gives up that walk. Only the 2nd he is allowed today. Most of the contact has been hits for ASU, or the base runners have been hits. Here's Beckett Zavorik. Try and get a rally going here. This is the first time that ASU has had a leadoff man on the entire game. Hairston, Contreras, Zavorik, and Smaldino, the first 4 to lead off for Arizona State, all set down. Try to make the most of this. Tough ball goes off the leg of Chafee, and it's going to get everybody on base. That is a scary moment on the mound for Evan Chafee, who was pitching a great game and was, you know, that ball going an inch or 2 in the other direction away from getting maybe an out there, but instead he gets shaken up a little bit. You assume that's going to get scored a hit. That was a hard hit ball from Beckett Zavorik.
Yeah, you can see, got him in the lower half, which is good because there's a lot more meat there than up in the ribs, up in the stomach. You want to avoid, obviously, those vital organs. So it looks like he's going to be taking a little bit of time. Seems to be all right, and that was almost a double play on the back end after the ricochet. Looks like he's okay. He'll stay out there.
Zavorik will get the hit. Chafee will stay in this game, but it's become a very dangerous spot now. I'm sure he's thinking about what happened last night, where it was around this score. It was a 1-2 run game for ASU until they opened up in the 7th inning with 5 runs, and by the end of the inning, the game was over.
Yeah, it's definitely something that they're going to be thinking about as we get to the top of this ASU order.
Yeah, it's a difficult spot, and a difficult spot of the lineup to have up in it. Hairston is due. He's 0 for 2. Hard line out and a ground out. There is a lot of action now in the ASU bullpen, so maybe don't expect Fitzpatrick back It's a little disappointing, I think, on Colin Linder's day. He's going to have a great line, but he's not going to be in line to get the win. Count levels out. By literally a third of an inning, he's going to miss eligibility to get that win. You got to get to 5. He hit 4 2/3, but he'll still go 2 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 5 Ks. That is a good day for him, and just like with Carlone last night, hit the showers, take care of yourself this week, and we'll see you against Tennessee on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, solid outing from Linder, only blemish. Few more free passes than he probably wanted to, similar to his last outing, but that's something to definitely try and fix as you go up against the SEC.
Right side, it's a tough play, but they get the force out at second. And Zavorik is off the bases, Nikolai to third, and Hairston on with a fielder's choice. That's only 1 out, though. And here comes Austin Rolig, who hit a very tough ball the first time up and got a ground rule double out of it.
It's a very good thing that they got that out at second, because I think Hairston was going to beat Chafee to first base if they were going to try and get the out there. And that would have been a very bad situation for St. John's to not get anything.
Yeah, Landon not used to getting set down 2-3 times in a row, especially this season. He was going to make sure if they were going to try to throw him out at first, they were going to be unsuccessful. Here's a bunt. They failed at those last night, but this one works perfectly. Tried one of those last night. It didn't work out so well, but this one brings in Nikolai, and Arizona State extends this lead to 3-1. Yeah. Excellent job by Rolling with the sack.
Great bunt. The biggest thing is just have it go on the ground. And hustling all the way was Nikolai. He was able to score. And sometimes it's the small ball. Yesterday was a lot of big swings from ASU, but today they're making it work with what they can get.
Hairston is on second, so a runner in scoring position for Dean Toigo. He didn't get a chance to hit last at bat because he was hit.
Yeah, they were going inside to him all yesterday. They were going inside to him early on today. Do not want him to get those long arms extended.
Big shift on him with Manzer all the way past the bag at second base. So if he can find the left side of the infield, good chance he'll get something out of it.
Yeah, they have to keep the third baseman, Rafe Stanger, over to stop Hairston from just taking third. So wide open shortstop position. Oh.
He got hit. Second time in a row they've plunked Dean Toigo. He gets on for the second time in this game and sets up New Contradas in another big situation. He came up last time with a couple of runners on. He brought one home to give ASU the lead. Can he do the same here? Hairston is off second. Toigo is on first. First pitch to New, and he laces one just foul. Makes everybody's heart skip a beat in the St. John's dugout, but it's just a hard hit strike.
Yeah, 2 outs here. ASU still only up 2 runs. They need another one of those big hits.
It's literally the same situation he had in the third inning, minus the score. First and second, 2 gone. He went right back up the middle in that situation. What's he going to do here? 1-1. Takes another one just off the plate. A couple of changeups thrown by Chafee. The outfield has given him a lot of room. Keep everything in front of him, maybe try to throw Hairston out if there was a base hit. 2-1. Fouled right back. Chafee can get out of this with minimal damage right now. But you gotta know that with 2 strikes, Contradas is going to be protecting the plate.
Yeah, he's really just looking to put the ball in play here. Find a hole, find some grass.
2 on, 2 out, 2-2 to New. He watches it go by. Big strikeout to end the inning for Chafee. He gives up a run, but keeps the damage low. It is a 3-1 game as the Devils tack on another on our way to the 6th. Good game here on ESPN+. Josh Butler comes on for Arizona State. Here in the 6th inning, the Sun Devils extend their lead for him. It's a 3-1 game. Butler had the win the last time he threw, which was a week ago today. He could possibly do that again today, Eric, if he goes long, which he is built to do. A little bit more of a long reliever out of Willie Bloomquist's bullpen.
Yeah, you know, it's definitely something that Arizona State wants. They don't want just one-inning guys. They want guys who are going to be able to give them a little bit more. Obviously, you have Fitzpatrick, who's there to give you these short bursts, but be able to get a little bit length out of guys, be able to not have to use so many relievers each time.
Butler, that one appearance, inning and 2/3, an earned run and a hit and 3 hits. He walked one. Didn't have a strikeout on the season, but gets a big opportunity here. This game a lot tighter than I think people thought. It is a 3-1 Arizona State lead here in the 6th. Fitzpatrick's day ending at a 1/3 of an inning. Again, Linder, the starter, went 4 2/3. They pulled him just a 1/3 of an inning before he could have gotten the win. And you doubt that Fitzpatrick's getting the win with just a 1/3 of an inning of work, although he could make a case.
Could make a case
with the way
on
that
how the rest of this
he
goes.
came in and shut that inning down. But right now it's looking like Butler, if he can put together a couple innings here, might be in contention to start the season 2-0, which would be pretty good for him out of the bullpen. He is facing Sean McMillan, leadoff man for the Johnnies. The day officially closed on Linder. He went 4 2/3, 2 hits, an earned run, 3 walks, 5 Ks. That's a good day for Colin Linder again. Other than running into trouble at the end, we'll see him next Saturday in a big moment. And a big moment for Josh Butler, who sets down his first batter faced in the 6th. McMillan now 0 for 3. Dylan Fitzsimmons trying to avoid the same fate.
Well, outside of a Gresty, St. John's is 0 for everything. Only 2 hits on the night, both of them coming from the 8th spot of Agresti. He had the homer in the 3rd, single in the 5th. Just walks and hit batters for base runners otherwise.
3 walks and 6 strikeouts as a team. 5 of those Ks to Linder, and Fitzpatrick had the one to close out the inning. That'll be the first non-Adam Agresti hit as Fitzsimmons takes it back up the middle, and a 1-out single in the 6th.
Fitzsimmons just using the big part of the field It is only a 2-run game, so not trying to get it all back right here, but now it's up to the rest of the St. John's lineup. Once again, we're talking about it. Are they going to get these hits with runners on base?
Fitzsimmons was due after how hot he was opening weekend. Had more hits on that team through 4 games than anybody. Hadn't quite figured it out here, but finally gets one later stages of game 2. Little bunt, and it hit him. The ball is dead. Angel Campos is going to rule this foul.
Yeah, the question's going to be, did it hit him while he was still in the batter's box for a foul ball, or did it hit him or the bat after he was out of the batter's box? And we're going to have a conversation that we were a little interested to see what happens.
And it's Willie Bloomquist with Angel Campos.
And where does the ball get him is the question. If he's still in the box, then it could be a foul ball.
It looks pretty clearly like he did, and they're going to be able to review this.
So the umpires are coming together.
It's Angel Campos at the plate, Steve Mattingly at first, Lee Myers at second, and Will Van Raphorst over at third. As with all these series, it's the same crew all weekend. They just fix positions.
It's so tough.
I think Campos was saying maybe it hit the plate.
Well, you see it also hits the bat on the handle as it comes back.
There's about a million opportunities here that ball could have been either an out or dead. Willie Bloomquist is just sitting there with his arms crossed at home plate. They're not going to review this at all.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to just rule it foul ball, reset.
Oh and 1 after all that here on Fry.
Well, if you're Austin Rolig, you might want to be ready for a bunt.
Let's see if they do that again. Fitzsimmons is still on first. It's not the worst call for St. John's.
You know, you've been struggling so much with runners on base. Just a little bit of momentum to get a runner advanced even can be so important.
Especially after Arizona State did the same thing and was able to move up their runner or score their runner the last time out. Good base hit. Fry didn't need to bunt there, so St. John's, much like ASU last night, had some problems with the Sun Devils starter, but has gotten a little bit better here in the bullpen.
Yeah, and even in that situation, the bunt still helps. You see how far in Rolig is. If he's a little bit farther back, maybe he's able to get a step onto that ball, but playing on the grass, he had none chance.
Only twice today have the Johnnies had consecutive runners reach, and it's been the last 2 innings. Agresti singled and Britt walked to start off the 5th, or with 1 out in the 5th. And then with 1 out in the 6th, a single and a single from Fitzsimmons and Fry. It's up to Rob Manzer to break his 0 for 2 day. He's got a little bit of space right side of the field with Contreras kind of semi-holding the runner over at second. Little tapper. Is it going foul? It's picked up in fair ground, and they throw over to first. It's a call from Nikolai that could have gone either way. He decides it's not going foul. We're just going to take the out. That's the second of the inning.
And we're talking about that behind-the-plate defense. You got to have a lot of confidence to pick that ball up, because if you're not going to let that ball roll foul, you better make the play. And he did with an absolute strike over to Smaldino.
He was the #1 catcher in his class in the state of Alaska for a reason. #1 player, too. And the Oregon transfer makes a good play, and this should get him out of the inning. A lazy fly to Longo. And working around some jams, Josh Butler closes out the 6th inning. 2 runners left aboard for St. John's. We go bottom 6, Arizona State by 2 here at Muni. bottom 6, Arizona State has worked around some tricky situations and held on to this 3-1 lead, Eric Matsumoto. The Sun Devils by 2, and they'll face the St. John's bullpen for the first time since lighting them up yesterday.
Yeah, this is definitely a game where in both directions, arguably, it could have gone either way with a couple extra hits with those runners in scoring position, but yesterday, it was against the bullpen that the Sun Devils set the table. They took a lot of long at-bats, and now they're going to try and do the same thing starting here against Jack Nestor.
It'll be Jack Nestler. Saw a Connecticution yesterday, a Ridge fielder out of the bullpen. This is Jack out of West Cornwall, Connecticut. Played his high school ball at the Millbrook School. Another freshman arm getting in this game. They used one last night. And they use another one here. This one an even bigger situation because this is a very winnable game if St. John's can just start hitting, which they kind of did last inning.
Yeah, we're seeing them start to put it together.
Ball is sprayed just foul from Dom Smaldino, who's 0 for 2, certainly due for a hit here.
But it almost feels like it's only a matter of time before St. John's finally gets one across. They're getting closer and closer. They're getting better and better at-bats. So if you're on the ASU side, you definitely want to see some offense in these next couple innings.
4 hits, and half of them came in their last plate appearance. 3 of those 4 have come in their last 2 plate appearances. The first appearance for Nestler since an inning and 2/3 against Ball State on opening day. This one flown to the left side, and Rafe Stanger is there.
Number 28, Jack Nestler.
So Smaldino goes 0 for 3 to start his day. Here's Dom Longo, single in the second, and scored the first run of this game.
Yeah, he was the one that essentially started the ASU offense going. They were 0 for 5 before then. It'd been pretty soft contact all the way around.
He deals a strike in on Longo. In that first outing for Nestler, inning and 2/3, a hit, a walk, no runs. So among those that threw last weekend for St. John's, he was in the upper echelon of it, even in less than 2 innings work. Only a handful of guys came in and threw clean baseball. He was one of them. That was his first collegiate appearance. This is second, so he's getting thrown into the fire right away with the Johnnies. 2-1 pitch, foul ground. Does Fitzsimmons have a play? It actually ended up being Agresti who got closer to it, but it finds the stands.
And for Nestler here, you just have to throw strikes. It's been the problem that St. John's has had in their bullpen throughout all of their losses, have just been too many free passes before the big hit. So, gotta keep that confidence up, gotta keep filling the zone up.
Behind the plate, this might be Britt, and he has a play for the second out. Nice job by Sean Britt manning the plate there. 2 quick outs in the 6th. This is a big inning if Nestler can put it together. We will get the final numbers in just a moment as Matt Polk stands up on Evan Chafee, who is in line for the loss, but that would be a tough loss to take after how well he has battled this ASU lineup. That is not easy to put down. So the line on Chafee is going to read like this. He goes 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts in 22 batters faced. He was good. That's a solid day's work against an ASU lineup that has shown a tendency to blow up at points. But he is in line for the loss, exiting this game at 3-1. That rides in on Polk.
Yeah, good day overall from Chafee. You know, it's always just tough when you don't have the offense behind you because it feels like every mistake gets so amplified. Every extra hitter that gets on, every extra walk, it just feels like it's that much worse when you're only getting 1 run of support.
Nestler is the first arm out of the bullpen. Ball dies on the infield grass, scooped up, and Manzer hustles it over to beat Polk, who made it close. So a 1-2-3 Sun Devil 6th. We're going to the 7th in St. John's, knocking on the door, looking to take the lead or tie this thing up when we come back. Arizona State and the Johnnies here on ESPN+.
Everyone needs a checking account, so get the one with built-in benefits for your unique lifestyle. Mountain America's My Style Checking has perks no one can pass up.
Enjoy sizzling restaurant deals.
Peace of mind mobile phone protection.
Timely telehealth services.
Confidence boosting, identity protection.
And clutch loan rate discounts.
Make my style your lifestyle.
At Mountain America Credit Union.
It's the back third on this Saturday afternoon. St. John's has hung tough with Arizona State. They pulled this game within 2. They've had opportunities the last 2 times up to tie the game, even take the lead, but they haven't quite pulled it off. Josh Butler, his second inning out of the bullpen for Arizona State. And he starts it off with a foul ball off the bat of the catcher, Sean Brigg. Aiden Blanc, Eric Matsumoto. We're enjoying this ball game. It's a beautiful day. It's been tight. Not sure Arizona State is enjoying this as much, given the 9-1 win in Game 1.
Yeah, it just feels like the momentum, Arizona State has not been able to grab it. You know, they had that 7th inning to do it yesterday, but they just haven't quite been able to either put away these St. John bats for good or to have an offensive explosion of their own, because these last couple innings, it's just felt like St. John's has been creeping closer, 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 and it's only a matter of time before the floodgates break.
4 hits on the day, 3 of them in the last 2 innings. Leadoff man with a 2-strike count. Butler can't quite put him away. Off the end of the bat. And a sliding catch by Hairston. That's a big play from Lando in left. He made it look easy as cake.
That was not easy in any way, though. I mean, that was a slicing line drive. It was low to the ground, but he tracked it the whole way, and he slid. You knew that he was sliding because he wanted to, because he knew that that was going to be the best way to make the play. Some outfielders, it feels like they almost fall into the ball, but he knew it all the way. Nice slide to make the catch.
Style points for the Sun Devil sophomore, who has been the most consistent part of this outfield in terms of playing time. There's a reason that he's just taken left field. There was all this talk preseason. Is he going to go to left? Could we see him maybe at first? No, he's stuck out there in left for the first couple games of the season. Good 6-3 put out. The shift worked perfectly. Contreras was all the way over, standing right next to Zavorik. And Butler has settled down nicely. He gave up hits in 2 of his first 3 batters faced. He's set down 4 in a row since then. And now it's LeGrand. And we've said this every single time he's come up today and a couple times yesterday, he is due. The big hitter on this team has not had it quite yet. 3 strikeouts on the weekend. The only times he's gotten on, it's been 2 walks. Baseball's like that. Again, with a hitter like him, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're waiting for him to turn it on. And this would be, for ASU at least, probably the worst possible time if he were to flip a switch and start to hit.
Yeah, it's just a matter of how do you respond to these slumps, to these slower sections of your hitting, because it will happen. It happens to every player, but the best ones are the ones that are able to bounce back from it, the ones that are able to make sure that, you know, maybe it's 1.5 games rather than a full weekend.
Butler is still looking for his first strikeout of the season. He got the win a week ago on Saturday, but did not have a strikeout, doesn't have one yet. Now he does. 1, 2, 3 go the Johnnies in the 7th. Josh Butler's first K of the year is a big one. Stretch time at Muni. Arizona State +2. We got a tight one down the stretch. Back in a moment here on ESPN+. Stretch time at Muni in a tight Saturday ball game. Second weekend of the college baseball regular season. Arizona State 3, St. John's 1. Big 12 Big East battle. Glad to have you for it with Eric Matsumoto, Aiden Blanc here on ESPN+. The Sun Devils trying to break through. This is the time they did it last night. A 5-run 7th basically ended any hope of a St. John's comeback and got the Devils the opening game win. They're going to try to do that again here. The catcher Nikolai leads off.
And last night, really, St. John's shot themselves in the foot. I mean, it was 3 walks and a hit batter in the inning that really set everything up before the Contreras grand slam. And so it's a matter of, can Jack Nessler throw strikes? Can he force ASU to be the ones to cause the rally? Because so far, Arizona State has not shown that they can get a lot of hits in a row.
Skyward on the right side. Agresti in foul ground for the first out. Nessler has set down all 4 batters he's seen. He's been consistently good. He has not thrown it by anybody. It's been now 3 flyouts and a ground out, so ASU has put the ball in play, but the St. John's defense has done the rest. And Nessler has started off very productively through an inning and a third out of the bullpen. Here's Beckett Zavorik. And his first hit of the weekend back in the 5th. Fooled with an off-speed pitch. They'd like to turn it over to Landon Hairston, who's sitting there just chomping at the bit to get up again. He's due. With an 0 for 2 day, but got on with a fielder's choice last time up. He's put the ball in play 3 times. Oh, look out. 3-1 on Zavorik.
And Zavorik, he's one of those guys that Willie Bloomquist is trying to just find ways to get him into the starting lineup, trying to find ways to get him into the game.
He wears that, the 3rd hit by pitch ASU has had today. And Zavorik trots down with a opportunity to run the bases here.
Left fielder, number 3, Landon.
And sets up Landon Hairston. Just clipped the front shoulder there. Let's see what Lando can do here with ASU trying to put this game out of reach. 3-1, that gets through the wickets of Britt, and up to second base hustles Beckett.
Hairston was showing bunt there. Similar to St. John's earlier, Arizona State might be trying to just get something going, advance some runners, figure things out. Maybe the hits aren't coming, you gotta find other ways to put runs on the board.
Zavorik only has 1 stolen base this year. Good block by Britt. Of course, ASU as a team is very aggressive. They tried a straight steal of 3rd last night, got thrown out. Hairston looking for his first hit of the day. They have pitched around him a little bit. He's made contact, but has not had any balls that he's really squared up. After he got on twice in 2 at-bats last night with a couple of hits and then walked as well. Maybe the smart move to just try and stay away from this leadoff hitter.
Well, now that first base is open, you could set up the double play here. You have more of an opportunity.
3-1 for Hairston, and he walks. He'll get on for the 2nd time in a row.
Well, we talked about it. Last night it was free passes that started the rally. Hit by pitch, walk to start things off here with 1 out.
Third baseman, number 24,
Austin Rolig doubled, a ground rule double back in the 3rd. He's put the ball in play twice after that, but has been set down both times. And a quick timeout. This is good move here. Nice slow walk out. There's action in the St. John's bullpen. You have to remember a night ago, if you're the Johnnies, what happened when you ran yourself into trouble in the 7th inning and it ended any chance you had of winning that game. Can't let that happen again.
But on the other side, Arizona State, you understand that last night a lot of it was given to you. Are you going to be able to take it tonight?
That's George Brown, the associate head coach. All of the assistants on Hampton staff are St. John's alum. George Brown, John Valenti, and Garrett Scavelli. Scavelli, in his 2nd season, graduated back in 2024. Valenti, his 3rd, graduated in 2018. And Brown has been with the Johnnies for 9 seasons, all the way back to Hampton's days as an assistant coach back in 2008. St. John's trying to avoid the mistakes of a night ago. 1 out, 2 on. A get-me-over pitch. That's a strike on Rolig.
And that is so big to get strike 1 after the mound visit, after you've had 2 free passes, and especially after last night.
0-1. Not quite going to get bailed out with the foul ball. Action in the ASU bullpen as well, so Butler's day might be done, though. You could ride him for another inning here. He's retired 5 straight, but I guess that's a problem you'll worry about in a minute. Right now, ASU'd like another run. Both runners go. It's a line drive to short, and they're going to double him up. ASU tried, I guess, a hit and run, and it just epically failed. A line out, and Manzer just had to walk over to second base to close the inning. We're going to the 8th. It's do or die for St. John's when they come back up in a moment here on ESPN+. Arizona State was threatening with 2 on and 1 out, and then some ill-timed running. Eric Matsumoto runs them right out of the inning. That's a big blown opportunity, especially if St. John's were to come back in this game.
Yeah, just very unfortunate when you send both runners. You try and avoid a double play by doing that, and they end up hitting into it as the ball was just right at the shortstop Manser.
Josh Butler, though there's action in the ASU bullpen, will have the 8th.
You wonder also if that was in the event that ASU maybe scored a few more runs, that inning went a little bit longer, similar to how they pulled over Bay. Maybe they wouldn't have had Butler pitch the 8th if they'd gotten a little bit bigger of a lead last inning.
Butler started the day with a ground out, then back-to-back singles.
And we've got an ejection. Not the one we were expecting.
How about that? Angel Campos has thrown Mike Hampton out of the game. It's a very similar situation, of course, to what he ran into in Game 3 of the College World Series. Though that was a little bit earlier in the game, and Mike Hampton is gone. He is not happy. He is walking off the field. His team is threatened. I'm sure that those emotions come over. His team is threatened, but has not been able to quite get the hit. And he will face the same fate as Kevin Schnall did in the World Series this past year. He faces the same fate that Willie Bloomquist faced in a game last season, an ejection from Angel Campos at home plate. If there's one thing to know about Angel Campos, he does not like you arguing balls and strikes, especially when he has the plate. You have to know that as a head coach in college baseball. He has that reputation.
But at the same time, managers want to defend their players. They want to make sure that they get their money's worth. And sometimes managers will use that as a tactic to try and light a fire.
Well, it's a flare to the left side, and Butler, unaffected, sets down the first batter of the 8th. Before the ejection, we were about to say Butler started this game with a ground out and then back-to-back singles. Since then, he has not had a problem. He's set down 6 in a row. And now, total 7 of the 9 hitters he's gone through. This is the second time he's faced the St. John's lineup. Sean McMillan grounded out in his first at-bat. That's low. So you do wonder, with ASU having some availability in the bullpen, do they allow him to face Fitzsimmons and Fry, who caused the problems, those 2 singles, their first time up. This is a jam shot, but it's not going to stay fair. Down the line and left.
Yeah, you'd have to assume that it's going to be a batter-by-batter situation. If McMillan gets on here, lower probability that Butler gets to face Fitzsimmons, gets him out, 2 out, nobody on situation, might let him finish the inning.
I was going to say 2 outs is a extremely different situation if there's nobody on and 2 out than a runner on and 1 out for those guys to come up. The length he's gone, if he gets out of this 8th inning, I would say it's almost certain he's getting the win should ASU pull this off.
Yeah, great one batter from Sean Fitzpatrick. He did his job, he got it done, but Butler's given the length here in what's remained a very close game.
He had the win a week ago to give ASU that series win on opening weekend over Omaha. Settling in now for a huge 2-2 pitch. McMillan is 0 for 3, and as we mentioned, one of those at-bats a ground out facing Butler. First 2 he faced Colin Linder. Two. This at-bat just keeps getting more and more important, especially for Josh Butler's fate in this game. Payoff. And he walks McMillan, so a decision to be made here with Willie Bloomquist. Do you allow Josh Butler to face one or both of the hitters that singled off of him? And I think we have our answer. As Willie takes a slow walk out. It was a good day from Butler. He still is probably in line for the win as he exits this game, and certainly if they can get out of this clean. But it will be on somebody else to close this inning down. It was a good outing for Josh Butler. We'll see if we see him in the midweek at all, but he is done for now. Let's take a break. Crucial situation as we go on in the 8th here on ESPN+. Willie Bloomquist pulls a 3rd arm out of his bullpen, and it's the guy who might be, at least as one of the 2 closers on this roster, Derek Schaefer, a Tennessee transfer in his 2nd season with the program. Local guy comes home and has made a big impact. He closed on opening night, has an opportunity to do that again here in what would be a 5-out save if he does indeed go the distance. He has a save already in 2 appearances. He pitched on Friday last week against Omaha, pitched on Sunday last week against Omaha, got the save in that Sunday game. And if he can go 5 outs here,
5 innings
he
would be
will have
mighty
himself
impressive.
a second save.
Yeah, his job here, very clear. Don't make it interesting. Runner on first, tying run is at the plate, but just trying to get outs. Not the fireman role we saw Fitzpatrick have to fill earlier. Just get outs, find ways to get 5 of them.
Butler's line incomplete, but we do know he went 2 1/3, giving up 2 hits, no walks, and a strikeout. Again, as long as you get these last 2 outs without allowing a run, his day was A quality. First pitch from Schaefer is a strike. It'll be on Schaefer the second time in this game that an ASU pitcher's come out and had to trust that the bullpen back him up. The first time it was Linder, needed Fitzpatrick to get him out of a bases loaded jam, and Fitzpatrick did. Got 1 out there, would need 2 here from Schaefer. All we've heard from these pitchers is about how nice it is to have a good bullpen to back you up. This is the best bullpen. Some people say in ASU history, I won't go back that far, but certainly in the Willie Bloomquist era, this is the fullest and deepest that this bullpen has been. And it's for situations like this that he has built it up. Good combination, too. Couple of transfers, more than a couple transfers, but also some returners, and even a freshman or 2, as we saw last night with Austin Musso. It's a good mix of guys, all of whom are able to step up. 2-1. Roller right side and foul.
It's also, different looks, different arm angles, left side, right side. The bullpen is something that's so difficult to craft because it constantly changes who's going to be needed in what situation. You never know when you're going to need one more guy. So it's always good to have as much depth as possible.
St. John's 1 for 11 with runners on base. That's why they are not winning this game. Runner goes. They knew it ahead of time. Schaefer turns around and throws out McMillan. That's a big second out. The base is now empty, and Derek Schaefer a strike away from escaping the 8th.
And McMillan, he was trying to just catch him sleeping, but luckily someone got his attention, and Schaefer was able to throw him out at second, because if Schaefer didn't step off, McMillan was halfway to second base.
So it's all on Dylan Fitzsimmons right now to keep this inning alive for St. John's that looked pretty promising. He golfs one down the line. This is going to stay fair and one hop the fence. The flying freshman Fitzsimmons rolls into second with a double, his second hit in as many at-bats. That's maybe a storyline for tomorrow, that he's gotten hot as this game has gone on. And St. John's does get a 2-out base runner here in the 8th.
And obviously, you never know exactly what would have happened, but a beautiful swing by Fitzsimmons. He was able to keep it fair, and it makes that runner getting thrown out hurt that much more, because at the very least, it would have been second and third, 1 out.
Good throw from Toigo, too. Didn't quite have enough to get him, but not bad tracking that down. How many times have we seen either foul balls or that one fair ball in that corner today and talked about how dangerous that can be? With a faster player, that could be legged out into a triple.
We saw it earlier in this game. Ball in that corner get legged out for a triple.
Fry singled in the 6th. Off of Butler. Naturally, that Fitzsimmons hit comes once there's no runners on base. Somebody had to say it. Flown out to left. Hairston is there, and the Devils get out of another jam. Bullpen is bullpenning on this Saturday afternoon, and ASU 3 outs away from taking the series. We'll go to the 8th. Sun Devils last ups in the bottom of it coming up here on ESPN+. Back here at Muni, set for the bottom of the 8th between Arizona State and St. John's. New Contradas will get up at some point in this inning. He'll come up second. And for more on that, let's go to Amanda.
Now, it's no secret that Nuo Contradas has been an absolute staple in the Sun Devils lineup. But something interesting about his collegiate career is he's been with Arizona State from the get-go. Now, this redshirt junior has really found his way, but something interesting is that he is a number 22 MLB draft pick, even after being out for a season due to a back injury. He's a prospect pick right now for that draft, and he's looking for his future here with the Sun Devils.
New will come up second with the Sun Devils. Right now it's Dean Toigo. Leads off and there's a strike. He'd like to see something at least over the plate. He's been hit twice in a row.
Yeah, maybe not even over the plate, but at least not at him. But just shows what St. John's plan is. I mean, you hit a guy twice, they're just trying to keep him inside.
He's patient with 2 strikes, 3-2. Jack Nessler is out for another inning of work. He's the only bullpen arm that St. John's has used today. And he gets Toigo swinging. That's a big pitch, a really good off-speeder at 83 miles an hour. To start off the 8th inning. It's a tough job he has right now. He has had no run support. His job is just to hold this ASU offense at bay and hope that his team can put up a couple runs in the 9th inning.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do on the mound when your team is down by 2, but you just have to keep getting outs, you have to keep throwing strikes, and you have to trust the bats behind you. Though it's been tough for St. John's.
Starter Evan Chafee went 5 innings, giving up all 3 of the earned runs here. Nessler's job has literally just been don't allow the floodgates to open with Arizona State offensively, and he's done it. He's done it well, at least to this point in the game.
Yeah, ran into a little bit of trouble, but had that double play to get out of it last inning.
New had a single in the 3rd inning. Last 2 at-bats, he's gotten up with 2 on and 2 out. He delivered in that 3rd inning. And he swings and hits it into the hot corner. A long throw, and Rafe Stanger makes it.
What a play. That was spectacular. Sliding down the line to his right, and then that is a long throw, and a Contradas runner who is not going to give you a lot of help going down the line.
First baseman, number 25.
That's an excellent play from Jader over at 3rd base. About as deep in the hole as you can get with a pretty speedy runner in New Contradas, and he gets him anyway. High and tight for ball 1 on Dom Smaldino, who's looking for his first hit. It's been a long day for Jack Nessler. This will be his 43rd pitch on 9 batters faced. The 2-0 popped in the air to deep right field. Back goes Fitzsimmons. He's at the track and he makes the play. Smaldino gave it a ride, but it's another F9 on his day, and he may finish 0 for 4. But it doesn't matter because the Sun Devils are 3 outs from closing this thing down. Does St. John's have one last storm left in them? To the 9th we go here on ESPN+. Sun Devils 3 outs from a series win. Top 9 here at Phoenix Muni. Aiden Blanc, Eric Matsumoto. It's been a maybe misleading scoreboard kind of day. 9 hits doesn't really do the offense enough credit. Neither team has been able to bring in the base runners. It's been the problem for both of these teams, and more so for St. John's. It's why they're down 3-1. To the 9th we go. Derek Schaefer still out there. Little tapper to third. Charged in by Rolling. 1 down in the 9th. 1 pitch, 1 out. Simple as that for the Arizona State defense.
Yeah, weak contact is what you're looking for here. You don't need strikeouts. You have the lead. Just looking to make sure that St. John's no comfortable swings.
This game officially 2 hours, 20 minutes old. On a gorgeous day for baseball in the desert, do the Devils have another one? Another first pitch swinging. Longo backs up. He's got it in center. St. John's wastes 2 outs on 2 pitches. Coming out aggressive, but maybe not the time to do that.
Clearly just trying to get something together here in the 9th inning and figuring that the first pitch is going to be their best bet, which, you know, good bullpen arms don't give you a lot of good pitches.
It's down to the 9 spot, Sean Britt. He will not swing at the first pitch. He's 0 for 2. They did get on with a walk in the 5th. The Arizona native Derek Schaefer into a closer role for Arizona State this year, trying for his 2nd save in less than a week, because the first one came last Sunday, and he's a strike away from doing it.
Well, we've talked about the Arizona State upcoming schedule. You need a good back end of the bullpen if you want to compete with those teams.
Schaefer trying to close down the series against Britt. 0-2. This will only be his 6th pitch of the inning. He absolutely could come back tomorrow as long as things don't go haywire. 1-2. He missed it again. Game 3 of this series tomorrow, same time, 1 o'clock here in the Mountain Time Zone. It looks very likely that St. John's will just be going to try and take one as opposed to win the series. 2-2. He rung him up. A breaking ball slams the north for Schaefer, and the Sun Devils win another series. 6-0 for Willie Bloomquist and company to start this season. The Devils, maybe not in the most efficient manner, shut it down and take another game thanks to those arms who were just plain awesome.
It was all about locking down when they needed to. We talked all night. St. John's just could not get a hit with runners on base, with runners in scoring position. It was all throughout the night for ASU's arms. They got the outs they needed to get, and they get a series win and a 6-0 start.
Colin Linder, a strong start, 4 2/3. He gave up the only earned run of the day. Fitzpatrick got him out of a bases-loaded jam. Josh Butler went 2 1/3, and then Derek Schaefer comes in to close it. Offensively, nobody was really great. Only a couple guys got on twice, but there was enough. And in the end, it was that big hit from New Contreras that ended up giving ASU its last couple runs of the day there in the 3rd. They did get one in the 5th, but it was that hit in the 3rd that got ASU in front, and they did not relinquish. So the Sun Devils win it 3-1 thanks to our wonderful ESPN crew and my partner, Eric Matsumoto. I'm Aiden Blanc. We're back to close this series down tomorrow. The Sun Devils winners 3-1 over the Johnnies, and they've started a perfect 6-0 on this season. Back tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. For Eric Matsumoto, I'm Aiden Blanc. Thanks for joining us for Sun Devil Baseball here on ESPN+.